It's flipped. That's weird. Hi.
Oh my God, I'm
Welcome.
fixing my hair.
Oh, it looks perfect.
How do we see what people are saying?
Um, in
Oh
the
my God,
chat.
I'm a
Little chat.
mess.
Well, hi everybody. Welcome to the
Look,
paperback launch of Kissing Girls on Shabbat. Just so we know that you're here, we're not talking into the ether. Can you tell us? Oh, look, we got one comment. Hi.
hi.
Where you're from, just where you're tuning in from today, if you're comfortable. If you don't want anyone to know you're here and you want to stay anonymized, don't worry. You just don't put anything in the chat, and no one will see your name.
I mean, we want to hear from you. So, yeah, unless there's no one here, there might be no one here, but that's okay. I mean, let's see. Avira, I hope I'm saying your name right.
Avera. I
Avera.
think I know her.
And
She's a queen.
Razy.
Yeah. Hi, Razy.
Hi. Hi from Connecticut.
Oh,
Yes. Spend a lot of time there. So, welcome everybody.
that's where we
We're
had
going to
our third. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
talk about it. But we're going to wait like an hour and a half until people come on. So we'll be on here for 11 hours and we're so grateful you're here. So,
Yeah. I think it is
I
working.
saw you, Jessica, at Foxwoods. I love you both. Oh, I love that.
Aw.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. I'm performing at Foxwoods again.
Yeah, this
Sarah would
summer,
know when
right.
it is. I have no idea where I'm going
I
to
feel
be.
like it's in July.
I think it's in August.
It's on the website, jessicacurson.com. This is how we keep track of each other's schedules, is we'll go on each other's websites and see where the other person's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll be like, you're not around. Where are you? Oh, she's in
Yeah,
Kentucky. Yeah.
Kentucky. Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of people from Kentucky on here.
Yeah. My whole audience, the
Me
whole
too.
Kissing Girls on Shabbat audience is from Kentucky.
That's great, Rebecca.
Oh,
I know, I love that.
I think we can. Oh, hi. Yeah. Hi, Razy.
Oh,
You you'll get the full scoop. I know we haven't caught up, so you'll just catch up here. Razy's a writer and like a friend of mine.
oh, I love
Same.
that. Hi, Razy. We'll start in a couple of minutes. We can just sit here in silence, which is really uncomfortable. If you have a question for us, you can put it in the
Yeah,
chat.
that's true. I feel like people have been so polite with our questions. Like we have
Yeah,
questions, but they've been very respectful. And a lot of times when I do lectures, I'll be like, just call me Sarah. Don't call me doctor. Just ask me anything because that's the way we get to have a real conversation, and we just want to have a real conversation. Hi, oh, okay, this is Courtney. Hi,
hi,
Archie.
Courtney. Oh, and her son.
Yeah.
And hey, ladies, what's
Her.
new? I recently saw you, Jessica, at Hard Rock in Orlando.
Oh,
Oh, that's amazing.
yeah, I
I
was
love
at
it.
that one.
You
Right?
were, yeah,
Yeah,
probably, yeah. That's
Awesome.
great. So I think we can start. Yeah.
Okay. Well, welcome to the paperback launch of Kissing Girls on Shabbat. I wanted to do like a more personal launch and to really get to talk to you, which is what I've been doing a lot of this year. And as of yesterday, you can now get my book in paperback, and it's so pretty. Um, I'm going to read to you from my story, and then we'll have a conversation about it. Um, and about us touring together. So, this is a passage of the book that takes place when I was living in an Orthodox Jewish community in which I was about to be married to a man. And I took my last night of freedom, put on some jeans, which I wasn't supposed to wear. I was always supposed to wear full garb, like a skirt, a wig, um, cover my elbows and collarbone and everything. But I snuck out for my last night of freedom and went to Cubbyhole Bar in New York City. If anyone's ever been to Cubbyhole, it's like a rainbow bar. And I was like, you know what? Let me just, do this one more time. And here's what I wrote. Why did women always know to touch my face when it was something Eli, my soon to be husband, had not done once in the hundreds of times he had kissed me? I pushed past the butches with short hair flopping over their smooth faces, past the studded ears and the long hair and the plaid shirts tied around waists, until I was outside in the spring air. I don't need that anymore, I lectured to myself. I can pass the test. I have passed it. I can be straight for as long as I live. I didn't want to search for a woman's touch at the cost of my children, my family, my future. I refused to be another pretty face seeking comfort in the drunken night. I leaned against the streetlight, watched a crowd of women as they stood in groups, shared cigarettes, kissed in ways that involved their entire bodies. I told myself I felt nothing at all. I drove away and back to the suburbs, showered it all off with the memory of myself, the self that came alive at the sight of sin. I shoved that self deep into the corners of a closet that I would leave behind when I said I do to Eli and to the promise of a shore on the other side of the turbulent waters. Following this, it was an additional several years, like 6 years, before I came out of the closet and came out as a lesbian. At the time of this writing, I did not believe that I would ever have a life where I was safe to be out of the closet. I just simply didn't think it was accessible to me. Because the way I was raised, it was like, you do this, and if you don't do this, or else. And for me at the time, the or else was, we will take your children from you. And I already had children, and maintaining custody of them meant staying in the closet. And so it's just really surreal to be here today, and not only like to be have my elbows out, have my arms out, and have tattoos on, and be out of the closet as a lesbian, to be a psychologist in New York City, but to be in love and like to be with somebody who supports me. And I just wake up every day and I feel like I'm living in a dream. This is a life I wasn't supposed to have. I wasn't supposed to be telling my story and to have you with me. And like, I'm going to cry now.
It's
Um,
okay.
Coming just to all these different places with me and supporting me, and like to have people actually read the book and the story. Um, and I feel like since I got here and it was an impossible thing for me to have done, it still feels impossible for so many people to live a true life. And so I just wanted to open up some of the inside of our process so that it can give people hope, not just for coming out of the closet, and happy pride to everyone who celebrates, but that everything that you're thinking is not accessible to you right now, it could be one day.
So important.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen you speak all over the place, which people don't know. I mean, how would you know? And how has it been for you? Like, I want you to tell them, if you
Yeah.
want, how it's been for you to do that, to tell your story all over
It,
United States,
yeah.
Canada. Yeah.
It's funny because we've sort of been on tour together for almost a year, and like nobody knows, Um, we just sneak around the green rooms of each other's venues, and I'm in the green room of yours, so it's funny. Um, so I've been on tour with this book for a while, and so I go into like different venues and talk about the story, and it's very vulnerable. Like it's very vulnerable because I'm not just saying like I'm not talking about a book I wrote about academia. I had been a psychologist doing lectures for so many years. I would talk about cognitive therapy, and I did 3-day trainings on like how to treat trauma. And I would talk in front of hundreds of people about dissociation, and none of it like phased me. But then talking about my story, there's no way to really do that without being honest about how I am and allowing people to have access, like to ask me questions. So it's been a wild journey at and the best part has been talking to the readers. Like people come up to me and they tell me that they can relate and that they've changed things in their own lives since reading the book. I get recognized here and there, like not as often as you, but I have gotten recognized on York Avenue, Manhattan, or like on an airplane, which is nice because people get to say like, I read your book and I resonated. My favorite are like like queer young people who come up to me and say, I wanted to go back in the closet I thought about it, or I'm thinking about like, I don't know if I'm safe to be out at school, but I read your book and I'm going to like hold tight to who I know I am. I also, at one point, I was talking to a group of women, and it was like a Jewish women's group. And this woman in the front row cried the entire time that I was talking. And she came up to me afterward and she said, I'm leaving an abusive relationship. And I read your book. And if you can do this, I can get through my divorce. And so it's like that meant so much to me because when I wrote the book, I tried to put breadcrumbs in for people. I wanted to show like what is the lived experience of being stuck. And so I got very visceral. Like in the book, I wrote what my body felt like a lot. And that's me being a trauma therapist trying to put in cues for other people to say, like, if your body is feeling this feeling, if you're getting that heart race feeling when your partner's about to come home, but not in a good way,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like these are things that you should look out for in yourself. And so the messages about trauma, like I think my readers have been so smart and have gotten all the things I've been trying to say. Um, and you, like, I'm curious for you, you were watching me say this very traumatic story.
Yeah.
I'm talking about assault. I'm talking about like the Handmaid's Tale kind of life that I've lived. And you are there and like you're my partner and you listen to me say this and you like, how is it for you to see me do this?
Well, it's not easy, um,
Yeah.
when like it's so traumatic, so much of it. Like I had to keep I listened to the book and then I stopped and then I listened because it was really hard for me to know what you've been through. Um, and I'm so glad that you're out speaking about it. Um, it comes up where you'll just tell me something and it's just like, oh my God, like what you've done with your life and what you achieved after you left the community and just leaving, like, period, is unbelievable. um, and when I see you speak, it's really incredible. I mean, I in the beginning I was very nervous because I'm a speaker. I mean, that's what I do. And I know
Like,
you've
what if
spoken
she
so
sucks?
many times. No, it's not what if you suck, but it's like I get more concerned about the audience, the tech, the all those things. If they're going to treat her well, and I kind of come in and just like where's the microphone? It needs to be this, and the lighting's not okay. But I see people's responses, and I see how much it impacts people, and I hear them because I sit with the audience, and they're just like smiling, and then they're crying, and a lot of them are just blown away by your story and your strength, and the things they say to you is really incredible. So it's great for me to just sit back and see that like you're making such a difference in the world,
Thank you.
and it's beautiful.
And you're so empathetic. Like the other day I don't know, we were talking about jeans, like, and I was like, just we were just casually like trying on clothes for one of our trips, and I was like, you know what? I wish I had gotten to enjoy my body in my 20s. I always had to be covered. I never got to like enjoy my legs. I'm like, I probably had great legs. I just never wore jeans and I didn't think about my body because it was always just meant to be a vessel for God. And you stopped in your tracks and like you always just feel it. Like you don't just
Mm.
move on with your day. So it must be hard to hear me talk at
It
like,
is, but I can hold it. I
yeah.
don't know if everyone can hold something like that. And it's very sad to me that you couldn't do what teenagers do or younger or in your 20s. Like you couldn't just wear what you wanted and show people how beautiful you are and how beautiful your body is. And it's very upsetting, but I'm the kind of person where it is what it is. Like
Yeah.
that's why I always encourage Sarah, and I would anyone who gets out of the community to like show what you want. Like I don't mean walk around naked, but like
you
show
you
your
caught me
tattoos.
past that stage. I
Yeah,
did have like a
I'm
slight
glad
phase.
I
Yeah.
didn't catch you when you were walking naked outside. But no, just the nose ring, the
Yeah.
tattoos, and it's like do whatever you want now. Like you were in print, like you couldn't be free.
Yeah.
So you should look and any way you want and be any way you want.
It's just so it's thank you. Like
Mhm.
you're so encouraging all the time. Let's give them some funny stories because we just gave them a lot of heavy stuff. Okay. We're going to give you some funny stories from us being on the road or just some things that have gone down that like you would not know if you come to one of either of our events because like
Mhm.
Jessica looks extremely put together and gets up there and does a whole act and I obviously like I don't tell you that I'm a clumsy awkward person behind the camera. But we'll give you a little bit of background and then we'll answer some of your questions. So, one of the first talks we did together, I was talking in Marblehead and it was Massachusetts and we decided to go on vacation. You were like, let's go to the Berkshires afterward.
Mhm.
Now, I don't know where any of this is on the map because I don't have like as a Hasidic race person in Brooklyn, haven't spent a lot of time in like New England. Um, and so we got to Marblehead, we went to the Berkshires, and I had traveled with you a little bit at that time. So I assumed like your team would book the technical things because
Yeah.
that's what happens when you travel. Like you
Mhm.
send me an itinerary, someone else does it, and
Mhm.
we do whatever they tell us to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, first of all, before we went, Sarah was like, "Listen, I like some time in the morning to myself, so I'm gonna probably just go downstairs and just like spend time." And I'm like, "That's fine. Like you should do that." Like she just had to give me a warning,
Because we hadn't like traveled together. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then you were like, "Do you think we'll fight on the trip?" And I'm like, "The whole time we're gonna fight the whole time. So this is very exciting." It's just things you kind of ask each other
Yeah.
when you're first dating. And we went to the Berkshires, which is, I grew up going there a lot. We have a family home there, and I love it there in Massachusetts. And we went, and there was no plan. I mean, it was freezing out, by the way, and we had no plan. Basically, the biggest thing is we had no plan on how to get home.
So it's some like but neither of us know this until 2 days into the trip,
Right.
and you have to get back for one of your kids' birthday parties,
Yeah,
and you look
exactly.
at me and you're like, "How are we getting home?"
Neither one of us um, had a plan, but we went to a town called Great Barrington one night from the hotel in Lenox, and which is like 15, no, 20 minutes away. And we went to see a movie. And after the movie, we were like, okay, we'll call an Uber. And there was no Uber. When I tell you, we could not get an Uber, there was no way of getting back. We
When you check Uber, you check Lyft, you check Uber, you check Lyft, and it's like your next car can be tomorrow morning.
Right. And I
Yeah.
even called like limo company. Like we
Yeah.
had no way of getting home and it was like 0 degrees out.
And we didn't have a car. Yeah.
Right. So I said to the guy that works at the movie theater, I'm like, could you take us home? Like I'll pay you to take us. And he's like, he was totally high. He's like, no, I don't have a car. Sorry. And then there was no one around. There was no one in town. There was random people, and we were like, "Should we ask this guy?" And we're like, We can't just ask some."
We made friends with the homeless guy in the like alley who was stacking quarters.
Yeah, he was
And then
doing
we
a
called
lot
the
with
police.
quarters. Oh, and
Yeah.
then I called the police, and I'm like, "Hi, I never do this. I mean, ever. Like, I should do it more, but I'm
Yeah.
like, hi, I'm Jessica Kirsten. I'm a comedian." And he's like, yeah, who cares? Like, he had no idea who I was. And I was like, could you possibly take us to Lenox? And he was like, no, we're not allowed to do that. So basically, we found some girl and we're like, we have no way of getting home. And she found some woman, um, and this woman took us, and basically it was raining.
Yeah.
Remember, it was pouring out. Her car was like a beat up old Mercedes, and she's like, I don't know if we'll make it. This is a very old car and the tire is coming off. I don't know. I mean, I'll do the best I can. And it was pouring out, and she drove 98 miles an hour.
And she's like, I only had a couple of drinks and we're sober. So we're like, fuck, like, what do we
Yeah.
do? Yeah.
Yeah, it was but she said it was a while before that she had
Yeah.
the drinks. But I was like this the whole trip because I am filled with anxiety. And we went back to the hotel and we ate 86
Kind.
kind bars. And then we never talked about it
Like 3 days
after
later.
that. That's kind of how we both
Yeah.
are. We just like disassociate sometimes and block things
Yeah.
out. And then days later, we started dying laughing. And we're like, we never talked about this woman that drove us. Like, it's crazy.
But the best thing is that we didn't fight. We didn't blame each other. Nobody said, you should have, not for 1 second. Even
No.
when we thought we would have to sleep on the street, we're like, okay, I have a sweatshirt. What do you have? We'll figure it. So
Yeah.
I think that was for me, like, I thought if we could do that, if we could not book our way home, if we could be stranded in town, like, and we could not blame each other and not get like that, that like resentful thing that couples get where you're like, you should have, I've been in so many relationships like that. And I'm sure so many people have where something happens and you get scared because your partner's going to be angry. There was no anger.
Yeah. I think just people like, it's easier when you're, I don't know. It's easier for like when you're both kind of just all over the place and nuts. Like Sarah and I always walk into walls and we trip on things, and it's just insane. Like I just bumped into 5
On
walls
the way here.
Oh
to
yeah, I
this
was reading a
computer,
text on the way down the hallway, and I got to the end of the hallway to the wall, and was like, "Oh my god, I almost just crashed into the wall." And it's funny because do you want to tell them about when we went to Canada?
Oh yeah. So then we book. I you had a talk. You had a show in Montreal,
Yeah,
and I was invited to do a talk in Montreal, and then someone asked me to do one in Vancouver. So I'm like, great, perfect, Canada. We'll do a Canada trip.
yeah,
So I booked this itinerary where I'm like, we're gonna do Vancouver and then Montreal like a day apart. But me being from Hasidic Brooklyn,
mm,
I'm not aware at that point that Vancouver and Montreal are not like New Jersey and New York.
yeah. Far from
Like
it. Yeah,
that they're on the opposite sides of Canada.
it's basically a different country.
It's
I
like
mean,
going
that's
to
how far.
LA. Like,
Yeah, or France. Yeah,
and
it's very.
you like very sweetly show up at the airport at 3 a.m. You're sleeping at that point. You're
Mm,
sleeping. Your eyes are closed.
yeah, like you.
We're standing in line at Delta, and you're like, "Hi, honey," and I'm like, "Oh my god, what have I done?" And then I realized at some point, like, there's 6 hour flight from point A to point B. Like, this is not a great itinerary.
Yeah,
But when you grow up in Hasidic Brooklyn,
you
like
don't know.
we didn't really learn much geography. It wasn't that important. So I knew there are Jews in New York, there are Jews in New Jersey. In the middle of America, there are some. It's like I just thought of that as the middle, like Baltimore and like
Yeah.
Detroit. And then there's some in LA. And then there's Canada. That's on top of us. So
Yeah.
I've been learning.
Yeah. I mean, you know a lot considering. So it's been good. And I also, I mean, this is not, I told you to bring this up because I'm so humble, but sometimes I get recognized at
Oh yeah,
Sarah's.
you get recognized at my events all the time. Like it's so funny
It,
because people will be like, "What are you doing here?"
yeah. And I'm like, I'm here with Sarah. And the last one you did where like people are like so like all over you at your events,
Yeah.
then you're like incredible to them and they're so excited to meet you. And sometimes people will be like, the last time we went into a breakout room after you spoke with you and a rabbi, and there were like 20 women in the room, and some woman comes in and she's like, in the middle of Sarah talking, she's like, can I get a selfie with you? Do you mind? I'm like, I'm listening to her speak. And she's like, come on, just do it. And she just goes like this. And I
Yeah.
just took a picture with her. But I'm like so humble. I love being there and just being like your partner and not being
Yeah. Not having to
me.
perform.
Yeah. And I'm socially awkward. People don't know that. Um, but I
We
am.
both, yeah, we both sort of like
Yeah,
just
we're a
want to be in
mess.
a bubble.
Yeah, we do.
But sometimes it's really good that you get recognized, like because we fly so much, and then when the flight attendants are like, "Oh my god, are you?" And you just look at them and you're like, "Yes."
Yeah, it's like my hair's up. I'm in a like big sweatshirt. But the gay male flight attendants always recognize me, and they're like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you're on That's not how they talk, but I'm
It's
just
kind of, yeah,
exaggerating.
almost.
Well, whatever. And they're like so excited, and they'll give us like free boxes, those cheese. It's so random with like a chocolate and some olives.
And like a
And
flight pin.
yeah, oh, they give us flight pin, like the airplanes. And the last one we went on, we we actually were sitting there, and they're like, do you want a first class dinner? Do you want us to? And they brought us this huge dinner, both of us, of chicken, which is, yeah, amazing.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's so sweet. I love it.
yeah.
I really do.
It's really sweet how loved you are, like how your fans support you, and how like you reach so many people. And I think that's just really like what inspires me is that you give, when people leave your show, they just feel for a moment like life is okay.
Same with you,
Yeah.
you know? But it's funny because she's a trauma therapist and I'm a comedian. Like, it's just hilarious. And Sarah is so nuts at my shows, like in a good way. Like, she stands next to the stage and she's like security. And
Like, like
I,
I'm gonna do anything if someone comes onto the stage. Like I'm like my little, yeah.
yeah, and it's very sweet, but there'll be like sometimes security there, and she's like, "Listen, I got this." Like, she just takes care of it and always makes sure I have, because I always have 7 drinks in front of me, and she'll make sure I have my drinks.
Like,
And
let's describe the beverages that you have.
okay,
Okay.
coffee, Diet Coke, water, iced tea. There's a lot.
Sprite.
Diet Sprite, actually,
Yeah.
not Diet Coke normally. And
Espresso. It has to be
oh,
two kinds of coffee.
well, it has to
Anyway.
be espresso and regular
Yeah.
coffee. But also, I have a rider, so I have like cheese platter, vegetable platter, sliced turkey, like,
Do people
chicken.
know? Do you guys know what a rider
Yeah, they
is?
might not.
It's like what an art. I didn't know this because like because I was just a regular person when I met you. And now I know all these things about being backstage. So artists, like musicians, and like everyone you go to see in concert, they have something called a rider, which is a list of things the venue has to have for them in the green room every time they perform, and it doesn't change that often. So when you have like a list of things you have, it's like every time you go backstage, these are the things that are there. So you have like cheese, turkey, nuts, and
Yeah, there's
sometimes
always
we'll
nuts.
go to 3 venues in 3 days and we're just eating.
We have pounds
So
of cheese and nuts and turkey, and we take I mean, literally, they have towels for me. I take everything from the green room. We
yeah.
stack our bags are full of like, I mean, I have a knapsack full of cheese, and we'll just eat it for days, and we don't even cut it. We just eat it like whole. We just take the whole entire
We just at this
block of cheese and just slam it in.
because we're always on the road. Like
Right.
who has a fork? Yeah,
Well, we don't need a fork
that
and
fits
knife.
in with my Hasidic upbringing because like one thing I learned was this famous rabbi said, "Who needs a fork and knife when you have 10 fingers?" So I'm like good to just eat things out of cups.
Me too, because I'm a food addict.
So
So I
this is a
just,
great
yeah,
match.
like we'll
Yeah.
put stuff in coffee cups and put the top on, like literally turkey or cheese, and just open the coffee cup. We must look insane.
If you ever see us on a plane, that's what's going on. We're opening the lid and we're eating like cold cuts out of a coffee mug.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should we get to some of
Yeah,
the?
let's get to some of the
Okay,
questions because we
so
have some
please
here.
put some questions in the chat. We have some that were pre-submitted that we'll get to, but as you can tell, we're very chill. Like, don't be intimidated. Ask us anything you want to know. We're doing this because we want to connect with people. We
Mhm.
don't want to be inaccessible. So someone asked, how do we juggle our busy schedules with kids and 2 careers and traveling?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have been used to traveling like this for so many, I mean, 26 years I've been doing stand up. So, but it's a little easier. I have, an ex-wife who is very accommodating to my schedule, just because she
Yeah.
knows that's how it is and that's how it's been. So, but we have a Google Doc, and I write everything down in a book,
We have a Google Doc.
yeah, we did actually.
Where is it?
Remember it? Remember when my dates went in there?
Yeah. We don't have it
Oh,
anymore.
I thought we still had it. But who would be putting no, this is nuts.
Okay, but yes, this is what it's like. This is like our conversations. Like, you'll be like, we need to go over like at least twice. I think every day will be like, we need to go over dates, or like twice a
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
And you have a book. Do you have your book? Like a little.
Yeah, I
She
have
has a
it's
calendar book.
so old school. This is embarrassing, but I don't care. This is my oh my God, there's a wrapper from a Nestle's Crunch. But I didn't eat the Nestle's Crunch. I gave it to my daughter Charlotte
It's okay
today.
if you hate
No, I would
it.
admit it.
Okay.
Believe me, I wouldn't have just one.
Yeah.
I saved the rack burst so I could lick the chocolate inside. But this is my planner,
Yeah.
which is seriously so like 1980. And I have tons of papers in here of like material. And Sarah's, you're much more organized with that.
Well,
You
I
have to
just
be because
because my schedule changes so often. If I had a book, I wouldn't always have it with me, so that would be scary because I would lose. I'd have to remember everything till I got to my planner. But sometimes it's like, to be honest, it's hard because we are traveling a lot and we do juggle a lot. And like recently, we had a stretch where we couldn't see each other for 8 days, and I feel like that was really hard. I cried for sure. Like during
yeah,
at maybe we're being dramatic. I don't know. Like some couples will be
no,
like,
it's
we
very hard.
cannot see each other for. I've heard people say like, we have a 2 month rule. We can't go two. I'm like, 2 months. Like I can't even be apart from you for.
Well, 2 months
Yeah.
is heavy. I mean, that's like, I think it's probably people who've been together forever,
Yeah.
right?
But even then, I don't know. I just feel like I've been through so much. You've been through a lifetime, and we finally are doing this. And like, I just want to see you all the time.
Me too. I know it's amazing.
But we do our best. So the honest truth is that like we juggle, and like sometimes it's hard, and I think it's just that we communicate about it. That's
Yeah, we
helpful.
do
Like,
communicate
yeah.
a lot.
What have we learned from each other? So, I mean, career wise, I think like something I've learned from you is I've sat in the writer's room now and like learned how to write comedy, which is not something I ever thought I would learn. I won't say I can write comedy, but I learned the
You come
process.
up with great stuff.
Once
Yeah,
in a while, I'll throw
you
in some
do.
lines. um, but you guys have a working Google Doc, you and the writers, where you have like your bits that you're working on, and then you try them out on
Hmm.
stage, and then you come back and like modify the doc until you get each piece, like each joke and each bit where you want it to be. I was never trained to do that. I'm just a psychologist, so I now have a Google Doc, and I have pieces of information like that I'm working on. How do I want to communicate this idea? And
Hmm.
I'll say them like at a lecture and then come back and modify. And so I've learned to like not give up because something doesn't resonate the first time,
Hmm.
but like say it differently, work it out until you get it to where you want it to be.
And just knowing your story makes me even stronger and know that I can get through it. Like if you got through that, I can get through the difficult business of comedy and of entertainment. Because there's a lot of rejection. Even though I'm doing well, there's a lot of rejection, and there has been for many years. Um, and Sarah is just so smart.
Mhm.
You are so smart. First of all, she speed reads, so she'll go through the phone and go like this, and I'm like, I'm gonna vomit. You have to. She reads so fast, and she knows so much. You're so knowledgeable, and I love that I learn from you.
Yeah.
I learn a lot, and it's great. Makes me feel more creative.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I like that we can bounce ideas off each other
Hmm.
and we respect each other's opinions. Let me hear my mouth. So that's helpful.
Hmm.
Um, okay. Someone wants to know, what is one of the best things about touring together? Everything. I mean, we like everything's the best about touring together.
Well, I feel it's really nice for me because I feel like protected. I feel we laugh a lot. It's great having someone to eat cheese with. Uh, I love experiencing that with someone.
Yeah,
So it's really nice for me.
yeah, because
And
you've
you're
been
you're
traveling.
so like proud of me. There's a part of
Yeah,
me is like, is this gonna last? Like, how could she be so caring and giving and supportive? Like, this is insane, but it's real.
It's yeah. Because you're what you who you are and what you do. I mean, I think people are getting to see a little bit of it now, but I hope we can show people more. Like, yes, you do the crowd work. You're a brilliant comic. You think of things. Your brain is so fast, and also you're the sweetest person, like human being. And I don't know if everybody gets to see that, but I think we're showing them here. um Best things about touring together is, I mean, really just every single part of it. Like, I love going to airports with you. I love airports because I was raised like so Orthodox. Every time I used to go to the airport, I would have to be in full garb. And when you see people that are in any religious garb in an airport, you're always looking at them like, I mean, we try not to judge, but it's like, okay, that person's different. And there, you notice them. And now when I'm in the airport, I'm in like sweatpants. I can look like everybody else. I don't feel like I'm sticking out like a sore thumb.
Hmm.
And we get to like be gay in an airport. Like, we can hold hands. We could go get 10,000 coffees. I can drink coffee. I don't have to wait for kosher food. And like,
Mm.
it just feels like a very free place to be in with you. So I love that.
Yeah, I want to respond really quick to what
Okay.
people are saying. I mean, people are saying, I love seeing a more serious side of Jessica
Oh,
because she's so real and still, that's so sweet. Me too. And I love that you pick on the crowd. This is the thing. I've always put up, like, I never put up crowd work until the past couple of
yeah.
years. And I did it because you can't burn your material online, meaning I saved it for my special.
Do we know?
Uh,
Do you guys know burner? Like, so if
like,
there's certain
yeah.
part of the act that's called the material, and
Hmm.
if you put,
Like jokes,
yeah,
not improv. And so a lot of us put up crowd work now, and it's something I'm good at and got a huge response. And I, bust on people, and but some people think I'm like a roaster, and I'm really not. I mean, I do it to people that really are okay with it. And by the way, if they're not, I never put up the clip. And some people have asked me to take clips down because the comments are so mean. And I always do when someone asks me. But this is really how I am.
yeah,
This is who I am off stage. And I'm really pretty mellow.
yeah.
I'm not on a
You
lot.
haven't roasted a single person on here yet.
I would never.
But
um,
yeah. I mean, if you depends how they keep behaving on here. Let's see what happens.
but some people really think that's how I am all the time, like just
Hmm.
constantly busting on people. And that's going to be my goal, is to put out more stuff like this
Yeah.
where I'm just being real and who I really am. That's a side of me, but it's not all of who I am.
Hmm. People want to know. I have a couple of questions on, like, someone asked, when did I know I was gay? And I
When
don't
she met
know.
me.
I had no life. Nothing happened before I met you. I was in a bubble, and
That's
then I
perfect.
emerged fully grown.
Yeah,
And then
perfect.
I met you, and I was like, oh, I'm a human and I'm gay.
Perfect.
Okay. But if you want to know more, read Kissing Girls on Shabbat. Also, someone asked if I still see anyone from my old life, which actually, so this is one of the other reasons why it's so meaningful to go on tour with you. Because normally, if you write a book and you do big things in your life, you have a family that's proud of you. I got a doctorate. Like, you would have a family that's like, you're doing amazing.
Hmm.
I don't have any family because I fought my way to freedom. My family, just their lifestyle is very traditional. They don't approve of what I'm doing or how I'm speaking. And furthermore, it's scary for them. It's like I have empathy for them because they're in a community where having a sister or a daughter that looks like me can tarnish their reputations in the community. And so they no longer communicate with me, and I am not pushing it either, because I know if I were in their shoes, I wouldn't want to communicate with me either, because it's just not, it's complicated. So I don't have family. I don't have many friends still from my former community. I do have some colleagues who have really come forward and been allies. They're Orthodox, but they've been like we love you. We know you're a great clinician. We'll send you cases, etc. But being on the road, like the first time you came to one of my talks and you took pictures of me speaking,
Yeah, I always do that. And the book signings are incredible because people just, always a huge line and they're so excited to meet you.
and then I look past the line and I see you being so proud.
Yeah.
And it's like the thing that heals me because I don't have anyone who knows me and loves me who's proud of me. It's like the saddest thing in the world. But having you there is everything, um, especially when I'm talking about difficult things. So,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
really hard for me that no one in your family is in your life.
Yeah.
I really have learned more about it, and I have some compassion, but it makes me really angry. I mean, that's just who I am. And also, I have to say, you are. I am shocked at how accepting you are of the situation. Like Sarah's not angry.
Yeah.
You're never. I mean,
There are
in a
times I
healthy
get
amount,
hurt.
yeah,
Yeah.
hurt. But you don't raise your voice, you don't scream, and you have compassion for them, which makes sense because they're coming from this
Yeah.
situation. But the fact that you aren't angry and resentful is
Yeah.
really a testament to how kind she is and how accepting and how much work you've done on yourself.
Thank you. Being a therapist helps because I spend my day trying to see multiple perspectives. So I feel like I have that advantage of understanding people's limitations.
Hmm.
Um, okay,
There's a couple
someone
questions
wanted to
here.
know what advice do you have to
Yeah.
someone who's also in a gay relationship with someone from a much more religious family? Um, yeah, so I think just trying to like understand that if your partner who is from a more religious family maybe doesn't want to introduce you to their family, like try not to take things personally. Because something I learned growing up religious is the fear is really deep. Like
Mm.
I was raised with fear in my bones and with like the sense of surveillance. Like people would always be watching me. And if I did something wrong, there'd be consequences for my family. And so if your partner's like not introducing you to their family or not wanting to bring you around or has like certain hangups, like I don't want to go to this place and hold your hand. I need to not like I don't know, so many different internal hangups, not call you a certain pet name or not be seen. Like just know it's not about you. It's
Mm.
not personal. And you might not be able to change that much of it. So over time, like if you see it moving in a direction that feels okay for you, then honor that. And if you feel like it's moving in a direction where this is going to be very hard for you personally to deal with, that's okay too. Like I needed someone with very broad shoulders to handle this burden of what I come with, and I'm already out. So it's
Mm.
like I'm not like pulling you back into any kind of closet. So it's like all these things could be complicated to navigate.
Someone else wrote, hmm.
What advice do you want to give to a black trans woman who wants to find true love while still processing her trauma? Thank you for putting your identities on here. I think it's so important to have representation and to know that like black trans women exist and matter and are welcome. Um, and I think for processing trauma, I don't believe you need to have processed your trauma in order to be in a relationship.
Mhm.
As a trauma therapist, some people think you need to be done, like be a completed product, and then you can be in a relationship. I don't. I mean, we've looked at each other and been like, we're never going to be done processing our trauma.
No, I'll never be okay.
We're never going to be like, look at what we've been like. I mean, I was like Handmaid's Tale, arranged, married, and forced to be with men for 12 years. Like, I'm never going to
And to
be
have children
healed.
at
And
such
to
a
have
young,
children at 19. Like,
yeah.
you don't get over that. You don't wake up one day and be like, oh, yeah, I'm good now. No, like, you know,
Hmm.
um, so don't feel like you need to be done in order to start a relationship. And also for any resources, soulwellnessnyc.com. That's my practice. We have a therapist coming onto our team next week who is black. So we wanted to make sure that we have representation on our team so we can treat people. And so many times when you look at therapy practices, everyone's white. And so we
Hmm.
wanted to make sure that we have like diversity on our team. So feel free to reach out for resources. That was a long answer. Um,
It's okay. There was one right here.
Also, like, have you been able to find a shul where you feel comfortable?
Oh,
So
yeah.
I haven't found, I've been at many shuls. Like, I love Temple Beth Am in LA. And also I'll be speaking at CBST, which is like the gay temple in Midtown Manhattan on June 13th. It'll be different, much different than this talk. It'll be a talk with Hani Getter, who is amazing and helped me during my journey of leaving with my children. So we'll talk about that. Maybe we'll love it and we'll make it our show. Who knows?
Yeah.
Um, did I go to school after leaving New York? Are we able to do like so? Oh, yeah. So that will be very detailed in Kissing Girls on Shabbat. Like, I was able to sneak out and go to college and get a master's degree and then a PhD. And it was such a culture shock. And that'll be all in there.
And you guys need to read I mean, I think a lot of you have, but the book is really unbelievable. I mean, Sarah is such a beautiful writer.
Oh, thank
And I
you.
listened to it on Audible, which is the best because she narrates it.
And you like hear me
Yeah,
cry.
it's really great, especially the crying.
I have a question for you that someone asked earlier. They asked, like, how old were you when you knew you're gay? And I think because it's Pride Month, it's a good conversation for us to have. Like, how old do you think
Mm.
you were?
Well, I was a very big tomboy growing up, like, really felt like a boy. Um, and I never felt comfortable in dresses. I look like a linebacker in a dress, like Mrs. Doubtfire. I mean, I really didn't feel comfortable. And I always wanted to be with my girlfriends growing up. You know, it was very different back then. You know, people would say, "Oh, Larry is feminine," or "This one is plays softball." Like it just wasn't. You weren't gay when I grew up. No one said they were gay, and I just always wanted to be my girlfriends and not with a guy. But I went to University of Maryland, and I always knew I was different. I was like, "What's wrong with me?" But didn't even go through my head that I was gay. And then I met my first girlfriend in my sorority. It's a great story. um, at University of Maryland, and we were crazy about each other. And then it was a secret relationship for 3 years, and I still was like, I don't know, you know, I don't know if I'm gay. And I had the hardest time with it. Believe it or not, my family,
But your family was so liberal and
they
they were
no,
like,
they didn't have a
mm,
really, you know, my parents' biggest thing was that I wouldn't be accepted. And
yeah.
my mother said, it makes me so sad that you'll never be able to walk down the street holding hands with the person you love, and I'll never have grandkids. And it's just amazing how it is now, how different it is.
Yeah.
But that's really, I came out, I mean, I came out and really accepted it in my 20s, but I was always a dyke.
So, like, there's a process.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. It takes everyone, you know, different amounts of time. And it was not like it is now. It wasn't like it is now in the 1920s. You couldn't be gay. I'm sorry. I just went into my grandmother. But my grandmother, you know what she said to me when she
Mm,
found out? This is incredible. She goes, "What do you need a man for, anyways? You have your own money." Isn't that amazing?
that's amazing.
Mm.
I feel like our grandmothers like really had to rely on men. I hope my grandmother would get it. I took her last name, like thinking that maybe
I
she
think
would.
she
Yeah.
would. And my grandmother, I think, was a lesbian.
I have one more question on here. Your grandma. Okay. Yeah, she sounds like she was a lesbian, actually, based on that.
I don't know. She always wore pantsuits, and she was just she loved women. Whatever. Let's not get into
Let's
that
unpack it. The whole thing. We have one more question on here. So if you want to throw any more into the chat, like,
because we'll wrap it up.
then yes, we'll wrap up after we're done the questions. But if you have any more, just throw them into the chat.
Hmm.
This is a very, very tough one. It's actually a question. I think it's one of my most commonly asked questions,
Hmm.
which is advice for queer people who want to stay religious and I like in a religious community, which
Hmm.
is, you know, it's a lot right now to think about doing that. At the same time, what I'm trying to do is help people live a life that's most aligned with who they are on the inside. And for some people, being religious is aligned with who they are on the inside. I think like religion isn't the culprit, it's the way people misinterpret religion that's
Hmm.
the culprit. Like I find meaning in spirituality, people might find meaning in religion. So if you're queer and want to stay religious, there's a narrative out there that like you come out of the closet and then you leave the faith. You
Hmm.
don't have to fit that narrative. The world is changing. It might be very, very slow, and it might be like two steps forward, one step back in the Orthodox Jewish community, especially.
Hmm.
But there are places where you can be queer and religious. Like there's a community in Prospect Heights in Brooklyn and Washington Heights. There are schools in Manhattan and Riverdale, where you can send your children as a queer couple, like to school. That's an
It's
Orthodox school
interesting. I
and
didn't
be
even know
accepted.
that.
Yeah. And so Jewish queer youth is a good resource, like depending on how old you are, if you want to start thinking about it. There's also Eshel and Keshet, and these organizations are there to help you stay connected. That's and to help you know that you can have all your identities and you don't have to choose.
Hmm.
Um,
Thank God.
yeah, because right, like why should people have to like why should we have to compromise on any part of who we
Hmm.
are?
Yeah, it's really true.
Should we read all the nice comments about ourselves to ourselves? Because we always get so much negative comments online. Some of us. Your
I
daughter
mean,
went
we
to
don't
yeah.
always get negative
Sometimes we
comments.
get funny
I
ones.
I have to do everything I can to not react to your negative comments.
That's a funny
It
story,
is funny.
actually. Yeah.
She's like, I just want to keep it kind on my page and no bullying. And I'm like, I'm a comedian. I can't handle this. Like,
Because the most common hate
yeah, this
comment.
is great.
Okay, I don't know if I'll give people a second to guess the most common hate comment I get on my page. Just like throw in the chat. What do you think I get? People get on me for the most. But in the meantime, your daughter. I think Ramaz is so. Yes, they are so sweet at Ramaz. And Central Synagogue. No, it's CBST Congregation Beth Simchat Torah in on June 13th, and it will be streamed and it'll be in person.
Yeah, that's next week.
Yeah. Um.
Let's
So
tell them.
they okay. Oh yeah, that's good. Yep, the nose ring.
Yeah, Rebecca, you're right.
I get comments every day about my nose ring. I'm like, I think it's funny. I'm like, this like what is I don't understand why people are obsessed with my nose ring. But you want to go off on them.
Well, because it's always a man. It's always some guy who's like, no, I'm not going to listen to anything you say. Doctors don't wear nose rings. And I just want to be like, I hope you die. But anyway,
So then I'm like, Jessica, you need to take that down because I have a policy where no one's allowed to bully anyone on here or yeah.
yeah, it's very. I told her to do what the video you made of like
Yeah.
she put a huge thing of tinfoil and she's like, I don't know, it looked enormous. And she's like, I don't know why people think my nose ring is so distracting. It's on her page. It's hysterical on Instagram.
Yeah. Thank you for helping me. In a year from now, I will be funnier
You are funny.
on my
You're
platforms,
hysterical.
and you'll just be crying.
Yeah,
We'll
I'll
just rub
just
off.
yeah, I'll just be in a home. Yeah, no, it's very hard to. I mean, I get horrible comments every day, and it's very hard to not respond to people.
I know.
Very. So
Well, if yeah, and your fans are so great because they'll go on and they'll
they
defend. They'll be
attack
like,
people.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. I'm like, I just yeah. People want to know, and I think this will be probably our last thing. What am I writing next? Oh, also, let us know if you want to hear us read our hate comments out loud and comment on them.
We want to do it
Yeah,
because they're so hilarious,
they're
some of
so funny.
them.
And some of my negative reviews are so funny.
Yeah, mine too.
I think it could,
Your book review. Yeah. Um,
oh,
why don't
so
you talk
just,
about your second
yeah.
book?
So I'm currently working on book two, which is going to be about the years after I came out of the Orthodox Jewish community in 2018. I landed in Manhattan not knowing how to order a drink, not knowing how to like barely pay a bill, not knowing how to buy pants, like not knowing anything about the world. And book two is going to be about the very messy few years that ensued after I was like 32 years old. I got my freedom and didn't know what the fuck I was doing. So that's book two. It'll cover addiction and like horrible relationships and some fun times. It'll be a little lighter than book one
Mhm.
because it takes place when I'm already like out and experimenting. So stay tuned for book two.
Yeah, it's so exciting. And
Yeah.
I
We're,
want to thank you guys. These comments are so sweet. Shout out to Jackie. She's such a
oh,
huge
yeah.
fan. And yeah,
Yeah.
it is like coming out of the Amish, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah, except she didn't have to churn butter. Um,
Yeah.
but you guys have said the
Yeah.
nicest things, and we really appreciate it. And we're looking to do more of these. I think we should definitely do one where we read our hate comments because they're so hysterical.
Yeah.
They make no sense, a lot of them.
Yeah. And we could do it live with our like with people so they could just laugh with
Of
us.
course.
Yes, thank you all. It's been I'm so glad that we celebrated in this like intimate way. Kissing Girls on Shabbat available everywhere books are sold at Jesse Curson on all platforms
No,
and
it's different on all of them because
yeah.
I'm so disorganized.
No, on TikTok and Instagram, and then it's something else on YouTube.
YouTube, it's Jessica Curson Comedy. Um, on Twitter, I hate X. That yeah, but
But you could tell
anyway,
them.
my website's jessicacurson.com, so
Yeah.
that has everything.
And if you come to one of Jessica's shows and see someone like standing in black at the front of the stage being a weirdo, that's me. Yeah.
You guys are
Thank
amazing.
you.
Thank you, and you're the best.
Oh,
And I'm glad we did
thank you
this.
so much. Have a good
Bye.
night, everybody.